Laura.
Hi, Brittany. How are you?
I'm not doing too bad today.
Hello to everyone else out there as we are in our third episode of No Shelf Control, an Essex County Library podcast.
We just wanted to give a big thank you to all of our listeners. We've gotten some great feedback. We're loving all the comments, and we really appreciate you guys coming back to listen.
Thank you, Brittany's mom.
Yes, thank you to my mom, who's an avid listener, and I think probably should run the
all the marketing.
All our marketing, because I think she hands it out to like 80 different people for us. So thank you, Mom.
Thanks, Melody.
So, Laura, let's do a let's talk about us. So to set the stage, I think we should set the stage for everyone.
Yep.
It is Saturday, April 17th. Yesterday we got the latest announcement from our premiere where we're going into now a 6-week lockdown. And it's pretty gloomy of a day, wouldn't you say, Laura?
Yep. I'm trying to smile as much as I can just to combat my frustration.
Yeah. So the weather seems to be matching our mood today. So we're just kind of hanging out, and we're hoping that this podcast will make you a little happier.
And us too.
Oh yeah, that's always a nice bonus.
I think so. So let's talk about what we've been doing, Britt.
Oh God, I'm sure we've had such busy social lives.
Totally. You go ahead. And I said totally again. Let's make this the totally no self-control podcast because I can't stop saying it.
I'm not going to approve that title change.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I've already denied it.
Okay.
What have we been doing? Well, we took out our bikes, Laura, but that was I think, and at least on my part, a premature decision. We had that, those 4 nice days of really nice weather. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh yeah, we could start biking now. It's now back to 4 degrees Celsius out, and it's cold. And now my bikes are taking up room in my garage.
My kids are still wearing shorts. They made the conversion already.
They already did?
Yeah. Well, I got sandals on, so.
And they got no regrets?
No regrets.
Okay.
No regrets. Or at least they're not going to tell me they have any.
Okay, that's fair. Mm-hmm. All right, that's fair. Well, that's very bold of your children. I like that.
They are very bold children.
They're bold. Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, that's great. The short conversion. Well, I know I've been really tempted on the sandals thing. Sandals is my favorite footwear because I like to go barefoot, and sandals just really allow that. And but mine are still not out yet because it's just too cold. My toesies are very sensitive to the cold.
My feet are cold, but yeah. I'm just I refuse to.
This is like the 5th Canadian season, how people always joke Canada has like half a dozen different seasons because we get these weird mid seasons. That's what we're in right now. It's not spring, it's not summer, it's whatever this is.
It's like spring, winter, fall, summer.
Yes. Yes, very good, Laura.
I'm a wordsmith.
You are not going to be in charge of the advertising campaign for the seasons. I'm going to tell you right now.
All right, that's fine.
From the position.
Leave me to my corn report.
All right, that's fair.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you got bikes out. Anything else?
Well, I don't think so. I think we're just living right now.
Yeah. Us too, pretty much. I got my point pass in the mail.
Oh, you did?
I did. So we went to the point. We did that. That was fun.
I know. Is it really busy?
We went and it was kind of rainy, so it wasn't that busy. But it has been busy. So I follow them on Facebook, and they do updates on there all the time. So if it is busy, they will post on there that the road to the tip has been closed. So, the parking lot down there is anyways, because there's people walk or biking. So then if you want to get to the tip and get to the humongous observation tower, which I don't want to go to because I'm not a big fan of heights. It's not high on my list. So yeah, they close it. You have to walk down there if you want to go to that. But and it seems to be it's been almost every day when it's been nice.
Yeah, we've started walking on we have 3 dogs in my house, so walking is a thing we do a lot of. And we have found the Jack Miner Trail in Kingsville.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's right across the highway, division from the school, the Jack Miner School.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this lovely little forested area. Like you walk through the forest, and then there's a field, and then there's another little forest. I think it's about 5K in total if you do the whole thing. It's like a big circle. You can walk the whole thing. It'll bring you back to the parking lot. So our dogs have really been enjoying that, and we've been enjoying the new change of scenery.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
We've been walking down to the marina and stuff in Leamington.
Oh,
And we
nice.
just walk down there, and then we walk down the little trail, and then we turn around and we walk back and go back home. Because my kids don't want to be out that long. Can't be away from the computer that long.
Well, sure. There's only so far you can go.
Exactly. You need to have, that cord only stretches so long.
Yeah, my siblings, my sister, myself, and my mother just did a Fitbit step challenge. Anyone with a Fitbit, or really any sort of walk tracker, whatever you want to call those, in which you are collecting steps from Monday to Friday, and it's whoever wins. And boy, did we get competitive. Like, there was 11 p.m. walking to get those extra steps in. Yes.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm,
I'm solidly tucked into bed by 11 p.m.
Yeah, no, it was funny because it worked really well as a great distraction of like we were so competitive about this, and I'm not a competitive person, but we were like, let's do this. And I will report for the world to know that my mother kicked our butts. So
I was just going to ask who won.
Yeah, it was my mother. She won. Congratulations, Mom, if you're listening to this.
She's getting lots of shout outs today.
She's getting lots of shout outs today. She's a great lady.
I know. She's going to be happy. This is going to be your favorite episode so
I think
far.
so, too.
So, you know what else I've been doing? So, as I said on our very first one, this isn't the only podcast I do. I've been recording extra episodes with my friend Sean.
Oh.
Yes. So, he also listens to this every week, and he always makes sure that he critiques whatever I've been saying. That's why I have the totally issue now. But yeah, so then we've been doing that too, and we've just been doing it over Skype. And that actually helped us with something that is going to happen later on in today's podcast.
It did. Your expertise came in very, very handy.
It was like IT Laura to the rescue.
Absolutely.
You're usually the tech guru.
But
this one
that's
I
a
knew.
name I have, yes.
So that's all I've been doing. We went to the point. Oh, we did go to Amherstburg. So we did our first stop in our ice cream tour.
And I did my first stop in the ice cream tour because I went to Dairy Freeze.
Excellent.
We're already on our way.
That's right. My kids are very excited about this. So they're keeping their eye out whenever we go out anywhere. And they're like, there's one there, Mom. There's one here, here, here. Max has a list going.
Awesome.
So, yes. So I did post, we posted a picture of our first ice cream cone. It was on our Facebook page. So you can go there and comment on any of your favorite spots so that we make sure to add them to our lists.
Absolutely. Please encourage our ice cream eating.
Yes, very much. So my kids would enjoy that too.
Mm-hmm.
Like add more.
Let's do a hot topic, Laura.
I think that is a perfect idea. What is today's hot topic, Brittany?
Only, I think, the best day probably in the whole planet, which is National Superhero Day, which is on April 28th.
That's very awesome. And that is actually one of my children's birthdays.
Really?
Yes. One is the 26th and one is the 28th, and they both love superheroes. So.
I think that means that they're meant to be superheroes.
I think so.
I think so, too.
So we did a little bit of research on this because it's kind of one of those random national days, right? So in 1995, the employees of Marvel Comics created the day and sent a team of interns out into central Pennsylvania to hear what the public thought about superheroes and what superpowers they'd most want to have. So I find that very interesting. What would be the superpower you would want to have, Brittany?
So everyone tells me it should be flying. Like, that seems to be a very popular answer. Can I tell you that there's no appeal to me for flying.
I'm afraid to fly, so I don't like heights.
Maybe like teleportation, where you are instantly one place to another. Like, maybe teleportation. Or what is it? Is it telekinesis, where you lift?
Yes.
Lift things? That would be very handy because then I wouldn't have to get up to get something. I could just
exactly what I was thinking.
Bring it to me.
That's awesome. I think I'd want super strength.
Super strength. I feel like I'd break a lot of things. It'd be a very expensive superpower.
Oh, I'd be okay with that.
You'd be okay with it?
Yeah. I want like the Wonder Woman cuffs.
Nice.
That's what I want. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's the like 12-year-old in me
yes.
speaking right now.
No,
But yes,
that would be awesome.
We are big superhero fans. If our audience hasn't realized that,
absolutely.
One yet.
And what I really like about National Superhero Day now, Laura, is that it's really not moved away, but not only embraced like fictional superheroes, but also our real life superheroes, Laura.
Yes, and there has been a spotlight on them for the last, I want to say, 13 months.
Absolutely.
And a well-deserved spotlight.
Absolutely. Are anyone working in the medical field, from the secretaries to the doctors to the nurses to the EMS frontline workers to our grocery store clerks, making sure that we still have food. I think our definition of who our superheroes are have definitely expanded since COVID.
Our teachers.
Oh, our teachers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it was last year when I saw a really good comic somebody had shared, and it was the new superheroes, and it was all of those workers, right? Like grocery store teachers. And I'm like, yeah, that is, they don't have, superhuman powers. They are just doing their regular stuff, but it's heroic work for all of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we're talking about all this today, Laura.
Me too.
Let's give some recommendations.
I think that's a good idea. So we have a huge collection of stuff for the regular superhero, our fictitious superhero crowd. Right? We've got tons of graphic novels. Like, I'm shocked at how many we have. Marvel, DC, whatever, anime, we have tons and tons and tons of stuff.
Absolutely. And we have it across many different platforms, not only in physical books in our branches, but we have Hoopla, which has a crazy amount of graphic novels on there, along with regular novels and audiobooks. But it's amazing. It's an amazing service. If you guys listening have not checked out Hoopla, please do.
Even for kids. My kids, I think I've said it on here before, but yeah, my kids like to read on there as well.
Definitely for kids, yeah.
So even what we have in here are easy readers that are hero ones too. A lot of, kids aren't always apt to read if they don't recognize a story right away. Like when I was a kid, you're reading about Clifford or whatever. And now kids can read about Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, because we have all those easy readers that start at like level 1 and go up to level 3. And it's tons of superhero stuff. My son read all of those. We had tons of those at our house. There's a huge selection of those. And like, don't forget Captain Underpants.
Oh, yes.
He's a bit of a superhero, too.
He's one could argue one of the most popular superheroes for some children.
And Captain Awesome, that's another series in the Juves. Have you ever read any of those?
I have not read Captain Awesome.
I have. They're really cute.
Yeah?
Those are good ones, too. And that's by Stan Kirby. Those are really cute ones. I've read those. It's like one of them, the one I read was like Captain Awesome versus the Nacho Cheese Man. And that kind of title just hooks me right away.
Well, you gotta fight the Nacho Cheese Man.
Totally. You for sure do. For sure. There was another book that's just out now. It's called We Could Be Heroes by Mike Chen, and that is just adult fiction. Yeah, it's not even a graphic novel, but it's about people with superhero powers.
That's awesome.
I know. I was looking that up. I thought it sounded really good.
I have an adult recommendation as well for someone who, it's not looking at the hero, but looking at the villain. I think I mentioned before, Laura, that V.E. Schwab is an automatic buy for me. And she has her villain series, Vicious and Vengeful, which has often been described as a gritty comic book styled world, in which she looks at the idea where gaining superpowers doesn't automatically lead to heroism. And it follows two young men in college whose senior thesis is studying adrenaline and near-death experiences, and one night everything goes terribly wrong. Superhero powers are developed and enemies are gained. It is phenomenal. Go read it, adult. I'd like to stress, this is an adult book. It is quite violent. But it is an absolute must-read, in my opinion.
That sounds good. I've not heard of that one.
It's very good.
So we do have nonfiction as well. So we've got all kinds of stuff. If the kiddos like that, there's all the DK books about all the different superheroes. Oh my goodness, there's so many of them. And They are huge and thick, and they're perfect for to just sit there and like turn the pages.
Mm-hmm.
And those are excellent. And then we do have some about our community heroes, right?
Absolutely.
And we were going through that list the other day, and I was bouncing some off of Brittany. Like The Day the World Came into Town, that the 9/11 book
with Gander,
about
Newfoundland.
Yeah, I think that's just everyday heroes right there.
Absolutely.
That's a really good story. Books by Temple Grandin. I don't know if people know Temple Grandin.
Oh.
But she's a very cool person. She is an autistic scientist,
An inventor,
and a huge activist for not only autism but for animal rights.
Yes.
I love that movie. I can't even remember what the heck. I think it's just called Temple Grandin, isn't it? The movie.
I don't remember the title.
But it's Claire Danes plays her.
Yes.
It's excellent. It's excellent. But she's just so brilliant, and she's like that. To me, that's heroic stuff.
Absolutely.
Being an activist, that takes extra gumption, man.
Absolutely.
It really does. And there's a new book called A Paramedic's Tale by Graeme Taylor, and I think that's a 2021 release, or it's 2020, I'm not sure. So it's like going to be little short stories about things that paramedics run into. So I'm sure there's going to be happy, sad, funny, maybe a little bit ones in there, but I think that's sometimes it's nice to know a first person tale of a job.
Absolutely. And then I think you get like our what maybe not what most people consider, I think it's a classic, of course, the Freedom Writer's Diary.
Yes, and it's the 25th anniversary of that.
Yes. The book is great, and the movie is just as good in my opinion.
Oh, I would agree with that one 100%.
And we have both of those in the system. So if anyone's interested in those, we have them.
Yeah. So we have a lot of good superhero stuff, but we have an even bigger expert on this stuff, and we're going to talk to her right now.
Absolutely.
Our friend from the LaSalle branch. You can give her her introduction, Brittany.
Laura Borland, who is a staff member at the LaSalle branch. She is, I think you could easily describe her as like a super nerd. She's a cosplayer. We've gone to Fan Expo. She goes to conventions. She's met some of the coolest nerdy celebrities ever. And in the Essex County Library system, I'd say she's one of our top nerd experts, and we're so excited to bring her in as our first guest star of No Shelf Control. So let's take a listen. We have Laura Borland here, all the way from the LaSalle branch. Hi, Laura.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing pretty good down here in snowy Leamington.
It's snowing in LaSalle as well. I'm sad.
This is some sort of sick April Fool's joke. Just so everyone knows, we're recording April 1st, and yes, it's snowing here.
It's not funny. It's not funny at all.
I don't know what it's like in Leamington, but it's really windy here, so it's snowing sideways just to make it even more of a kick in the pants.
Ugh, that sucks.
Gross.
I hate it. Winter, go away.
We're ready for spring here.
It's just wrong on every level. But the sun's shining. Trying to be positive.
That's right. That's it. What here's the positive is you're bringing the sunshine to us today, Miss Laura.
Absolutely.
Well, you're one of my favorite Lauras as well.
Yay.
Yay.
Just don't. I hope that the other Laura that works here doesn't listen to this now.
That would be awkward.
Well, she's in the club.
She is. There's the three of us. Yeah. It's a trifecta.
It's a pretty good club.
Okay, so Miss Laura, we're having you on because today we're talking about superheroes and all things fandemonium-like, and I know you're just a teeny bit of an expert on that stuff.
I don't want to say I'm a professional nerd, but I'm one of those weirdos that you see that completely dresses up like a character and goes to conventions. So I'm a card-carrying professional nerd. But COVID has taken all of that away. There's no conventions. There's no, 20,000 other people geeking out about Doctor Who in the same room. There's none of that happening. So really, everything's been virtual and online and listening to podcasts. and, you know, the Star Trek people doing virtual meet and greets. So, yeah, superheroes, nerd stuff. I'm your girl.
I mean, at least we have, Laura, I think you could agree, the Disney Plus Marvel TV shows that we've been gifted with in 2020 and 2021 have been pretty fantastic.
They have. Now, I'm going full disclosure. I have not watched WandaVision yet because my daughter won't let me watch it without her. I hope she listens to this. So that is our Easter weekend plans.
I think Laura and I just swooned. Like
I know.
We almost fainted right in this room.
It's killing me. But last weekend, my son wanted to watch Zack Snyder's cut of the Justice League movie.
Nice.
So it's 4 hours long.
Yep.
It took us 3 sittings because we all have jobs. We all have stuff going on. So that I have watched. I have opinions. Don't know if you care to hear them, but
I haven't seen it yet, Laura. Someone told me it's kind of like broken up in places where you can like pause and leave it.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, there's like chapters, you know, with chapter titles. So there are very definite and actually logical pauses in the action. And I had to remember what the original movie was like. So I kind of watched it so that I could compare it because, you know, you got to compare and contrast. It has to be science.
Absolutely.
So I could watch. And it was a much improved. It was a huge improvement. Things that were cut out that made things rushed were put back in. Different character stories were fleshed out a little more. My girl Wonder Woman had some better stuff. So, yeah.
I just got my DC binge box today, so that is what we are going to be doing at my house this weekend and probably the next, few days after that. Even though we are by far Marvel fans at our house, my son said, "Okay, Mom, get it. We'll watch something different for once." Okay.
With Marvel, DC, I never understood why there's like, you can't like one if you don't like the other or whatever. They're so different. You get different things out of each fandom. DC is like, the hero's always been someone who's been orphaned and everyone murdered, and that's how they, rise up to find their superhero power. And in Marvel, it's much more like upbeat and bright. And even when you're watching the movies, the tone is darker in a DC movie. And anyone who can't get into the DC movies, I would highly recommend watching some of the DC verse shows on TV. Arrow, The Flash, Supergirl. In my humble nerd opinion, I believe that the Arrowverse people on TV have done a lot better job of capturing the feel of the DC universe than the movies, the theatrical releases have.
So, Laura, here's a I don't even know what to call it. It's not a controversial opinion. Here's the thing. I don't like the DC TV shows.
Really?
Yes, I just blew Laura away. I can tell by the sound of her voice. She's like, what?
You're allowed to not like them. That's
I know, totally. Because I, like you, Laura, love Wonder Woman. Like the other Laura's here, Wonder Woman is a goddess. And I started watching I started with Arrow, and then when they introduced the Flash, I jumped over to the Flash, and even my partner right now is still watching Batwoman, which is I think the latest one, if my memory serves. But at some point I did tap out.
That's fine. There's a lot of things to watch, and I tell this to our patrons all the time, especially when it comes to books. If you don't like it, don't finish it. There's a million other things out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Marvel DC like versus feeling, I don't understand people who think that because they like one, they can't like the other. I think you can argue maybe which one you like better. That's totally valid. Everyone is going to have a preference. But if every nerd knows we like 100,000 things, and all of those likes are completely legitimate.
And don't get a bunch of nerds started on who's the best Spider-Man, unless you got all day.
Oh, Tom Holland.
Oh God, we're gonna drop
Just
the
stop.
opinions.
We're done.
Story. Okay. But and this is also, so the DC Marvel comparison is along the lines in the nerd realm of the Star Wars, Star Trek
Right.
thinking.
Again, apples and oranges.
Oh, totally.
That one seems even more ridiculous to me, Laura, because at least, with DC and Marvel, it's like superheroes. So like I get they're the same genre in a sense, but like Star Trek and Star Wars are both sci-fi, but I think really that's where the comparison like ends. Like they're so different.
They take place in space. There are ships and planets. That's it. Done.
Like when you explain it like that, every other sci-fi movie should be compared to Star Trek and Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, I got equally excited about meeting Patrick Stewart as I did about meeting Mark Hamill. Like, there's no favoritism there.
No, because you were probably unconscious, passed out from the excitement from both.
I lost the ability to speak when I met Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
My brother was standing beside me and was just like, words. Like, it was something.
Well, you and I have a love of Captain Picard. We know we have that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And I love how the Star Trek universe has really focused in on the TV shows. Like even now with the reboot movies that came out with Chris Pine and stuff, they still have like Star Trek Discovery, which I love.
Me too.
And Star Trek Picard, and now they're going to be doing, I forget the title of it, but that new one with Kirk in them, and then they have they called a cartoon and animation, Star Trek Lower Decks.
Lower Decks was adorable.
Like
I loved it.
Star Trek, I think, knows that its strength can be TV shows. Like it doesn't need the big flashy movies. It's totally good with running its universe in the TV show space.
One of my comfort shows, I know COVID's been hard for everybody.
Absolutely.
One of my comfort shows that I've seen many times since the 1980s is Star Trek The Next Generation. And I will rewatch that and rewatch that and rewatch that. And not all the episodes are exciting. In fact, pre-Beard Riker is downright weird looking, but I will watch it over and over and over again because it's just it taps into some sort of a human emotional thing where we all want to do better. We all want to live in a better world where things are better. And the episodes don't have to be exciting. Like you said, there doesn't have to be explosions. Like some of the best episodes are just a couple of the characters and going on some sort of a journey. So I agree. Star Trek really knows that they don't have to have a big movie full of explosions to be successful.
Give me any Data episode, and I don't care how dull it is, it's going to be my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So good.
Oh, Star Trek as a whole is a franchise that has like grown and developed and has really kept with the times. It's miraculous. Like it blows my mind anytime I see some of the old episodes or even current shows in which they really lead the way into what sci-fi is and what sci-fi can mean, even with just their diversity, their storytelling, and like the focus on empathy, right? The focus on hope and being better. Like it's an amazing franchise.
It is. And I think it's going to continue to be for a very long time.
Absolutely. Well, now that you know Laura a little bit, now that you know what the things she loves, let's talk about some of the stuff ECL gives that superheroes fans can take out and bring home with them or access online. Do you have any suggestions, Laura?
Well, one of the main things that we nerds love is Hoopla. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with Hoopla, but there is a wealth of graphic novels on there for just about any fandom that you could even possibly imagine. Everything's on there. DC, Marvel, the Dark Horse comics, IDW, which is another big comic publisher. They do the Winona Earp stuff. They're all on Hoopla. It's great. You can download the graphic novels and there you go. For people who prefer something maybe made out of paper, our collection actually has So much nerdy stuff. Yeah, like one of my favorite things that we have, and actually I may have requested they purchase them, and they did, were the Buffy the Vampire Slayer collections that take over after the show ends. So season 8, season 9, they're huge. They're these big graphic novel.
They're like coffee table books.
They are.
We have to, when we display them, they're so big. They can't sit on the shelf in a regular way.
Yeah, and Buffy Summers is a superhero, and that is a hill I will die on. So that is some superhero stuff. But I don't know if you guys have seen these books I'm going to tell you about. There is a series of YA novels. They're not graphic novels. They're novel novels. They're a DC Icons series, and there's one about Wonder Woman, one about Batman, etc. And they're written by well-known YA authors.
Oh, absolutely. I love those, Laura. You get Wonder Woman by Leigh Bardugo.
Yeah.
You got Batman by Maria Liu.
Yep.
Catwoman. Sarah J. Maas did Catwoman.
Yep. Sarah J. Maas wrote Catwoman. And where is he? Yeah. Matt DeFede wrote the Superman one.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a big evangelist for YA. I think everybody should read it.
Absolutely. I've made this exact plea on this podcast, Laura. Don't worry.
Well, good. So then, if we both think so, it must be true.
I love that logic. Let's run with that.
That's logic to me. But they are great. They are well-realized novels. They're fantastic. And it could be a jumping-off point for someone who maybe loves Wonder Woman but's never read anything else by Leigh Bardugo or Sarah J. Maas, and it might get them into their whole, collection of work.
And I think the comic books, as someone who has read comic books but not like a whole ton, they can be a little overwhelming, I think, to beginners, right? Like there's so much wealth of back information. And while I think each new storyline always tries to keep in mind that maybe someone is picking this up for the first time, it's still I think an intimidating thing for new comic book readers.
It is. So for example, take Wonder Woman. There's about, a dozen to 20 different graphic novel series, all starting volumes 1 through whatever, that tackle a different part of her life, or maybe it's an origin story, or it can be very, very, very overwhelming to someone getting new into it. Let's face it, though, they are comics. At the end of the day, you pick one up and read it, you're not going to be too lost.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's a great thing about them, right? Like my brother is a big fan of comic books, and he owns Batman 1 and then Superman 10. And I'm like, well, where's Superman 1 to 9? I don't know. I haven't read them. And I'm like, okay.
Sure.
He's he lives life on the wild side.
Yeah. We've got graphic novels we've got easy ones, like we've got Captain Marvel books that are easy readers for littles, and then we've got ones that are definitely just for grown-ups. So if anyone's going on the catalog looking for a graphic novel, make sure you look at what shelf it's on. Is it easy? Is it juvenile? Is it YA? Is it adult? Because we don't judge at the library. You read whatever you want, but if you bring home a graphic novel and to give to your 10-year-old thinking, oh, this would be cool, and it's a adult Deadpool.
Yeah, we've had those calls.
Yeah, just be careful, because not all comics are meant for kids.
Absolutely. In fact, I think you could argue a lot of comics these days are not really for children anymore.
No, there's a series that I love called Saga that is definitely
so good.
Not for kids. Mm-hmm. Not even, my daughter kind of saw me reading one over my shoulder and she was like, Mom, what are you looking at? Like there was some pretty interesting art. Yeah. That's our God-given right to embarrass our children though, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I'm good. Since both of you believe that, it must be true.
That's correct.
That's the rule we just made.
I think we can keep that rule going with this. I'd just like to mention about Hoopla, just in case our patrons have not utilized it before. Hoopla is amazing because there's really unlimited copies of anything on that site, which means Overdrive is a great service, and I love Overdrive, but there is only, in most of the cases, one copy, sometimes two copies that we've purchased for the e-edition, and then you can get on a very long holds list. The great thing about Hoopla is if you can get it on Hoopla, it's unlimited copies. You get it right away, no matter what, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Yes. You have to be careful your borrows for the month, though.
Yeah, you only get 10 per month.
Yeah. It's April 1st today. We're recording, and I got to be really careful because there's some new Doctor Who ones I want to read, and I got to make it stretch out for the whole month.
Got to make it last.
So Laura, we know, well, I know, and Brittany knows, that you have a little group on Facebook through Essex County Library. We want to give us a little taste of that?
I would love to. Yeah. So, like I said before, I was really missing getting dressed up in my weird costumes and going to conventions, and I was missing all my convention peeps, and I thought, got to provide some really interesting and unique programming for the library. It all has to be digital. What can I do? So I had the idea to do timed or timely nerd posts, like on Leonard Nimoy's birthday or things like that. And the ECL Fandemonium group was born out of my crazy brain. And what it is, it's a Facebook group. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with our other groups. We have one for seeds and we have one for cooking. If you go to our Facebook page and you look under groups, you'll see ECL Fandemonium. And what it is just a space where myself, and I have an exciting announcement in a second, but mostly myself likes to talk about the nerdier side of ECL and what we have to offer. For example, after the New Year's episode of Doctor Who aired, I did a little reaction video and then gave the patrons a link to all sorts of Doctor Who stuff we have in the catalog in case they were interested. And that's the kind of thing. On Star Wars Day, I did a ton of Star Wars stuff. And what I'm trying to do is just kind of keep up with the nerd high holidays and and do posts. There'll be one coming up. I don't know when this is airing, but Monday, April the 5th is a huge nerd high holiday. So check the Fandemonium for that. I've got a post ready, but so exciting. I have now a collaborator on the Fandemonium. Miss Julie has joined me as a moderator. Yay! Because here's the thing. Everybody's a nerd about something. Everybody. You could be a nerd about gardening. You could be a nerd about books. You could be a nerd about muscle cars. Everybody's a nerd about something. And I am not a nerd about everything, believe it or not. And Miss Julie offers, she loves manga and anime and all that stuff, which I've really never gotten into. If you go to the Fandemonium, she's done a couple posts already. She did a review of Attack on Titan that she was super excited about. And I'm like, oh, sure, go. I didn't know anything about it. So now she's been made a moderator and she's going to collaborate with me on the Fandemonium, which is fantastic. So that's the kind of thing we're doing.
Nothing made me happier than seeing Julie and her little Gandalf character the other day. I love me some Lord of the Rings.
Yes. Yeah, she's like, do you mind if I do something for Tolkien Reads Day? I'm like, mind? Go nuts, lady. So that's really exciting. Another thing I'm hoping to do in the future is talk about sci-fi and fantasy novels that are coming up and getting people excited about them before they come out.
We like that. We like the sound of that.
Yeah,
so we like our sci-fi fantasy, not sci-fi horror, as I addressed in the last podcast episode. I don't enjoy that.
No,
Laura,
I'm not a big fan of horror.
Surprised sci-fi horror, and I think it has scarred her.
It has completely scarred me, and it's a juve, and I can't talk about it because it still bothers me.
There are certain shows, like I'm a lover of sci-fi, but I can't watch Black Mirror. It freaks me out.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere near that show. I'm just being scared.
I have a very good friend who lets me know if I'm allowed to watch something because she knows how scary it is. Like there's a scary level. So she'll text me, oh, no, you're not allowed to watch that. She knows. I'll have to watch kid videos after.
Yeah. I'm still reeling from it. I still have to watch too many puppies cuddling with bunnies right now.
We don't need that in COVID. We need happy stuff.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think sci-fi, like especially when you talk superheroes, but sci-fi and fantasy, I think it really is like a genre of hope in a lot of ways, right? Like it's otherworldly and it's not like reality, but it really talks about right very important themes centering around the idea, I think, of always of hope. Would you agree with that, Laura?
I would agree with that. There's not always a happy ending, but that's what they're striving for. Everyone, and there's always a collaboration, people working together.
Yes.
The Avengers assemble, the Justice League gets together, like everyone, they're gathering together, working together and figuring out they have to work together as a team or it's not going to work. And yeah, that in itself is very hopeful and very uplifting.
Yeah, there's always like a, putting aside differences and facing something greater than yourself, right? Like, I think that's, especially as we're looking at, this is year 2 of COVID now. And I think that's something that is, very relatable right now.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
I realize now when I say, what do you think, Laura? I'm not actually sure which Laura I'm talking to. So,
I'm not either.
Either one of you feel free to chime in the future.
Just call me L1.
That's how we do it. That's how we roll, right, Laura?
Yeah. Oh.
All right, Laura. So I think that we need to ask you some of your favorite things because I think that's always, it's not a telling thing, but it gives a good recommendation of things. So give us your favorite, like fanny type movie. Like doesn't have to be superheroes, it'd be whatever, your favorite movie that fits in this category.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know it's hard. God. I started out of the gate with a real tough one.
I'm going to have to say Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Ooh, interesting choice.
It's superhero-y, but it's also tongue-in-cheek comic booky and silly and funny. And when you watch it now, you're like, oh my God, Brie Larson's in this? Like, there's just so many people that are in that. So I'm going to have to say, yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And Toronto's a character, literally a character in it, which is hilarious to me.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, so favorite graphic novel. And it doesn't matter if it's YA or adult or Juve, favorite graphic novel.
Nimona.
Oh, great choice. Noelle Stevenson. That's so good.
Yeah, I didn't even know you were going to ask me that.
I didn't know I was either. I'm a fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, Laura. You never know what I'm going to say.
All right.
Okay, so favorite TV show?
Right now, it's Winona Earp.
Oh,
good choice.
That is a good choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was part of
Star Trek show. Oh,
what?
You're gonna talk. Keep talking. I'll throw it after.
No. What'd you say?
Favorite Star Trek show?
Oh, Next Generation, hands down. That's my go-to.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
I love them all, but it's my favorite child.
Yes, I would agree with that one 100%. Patrick Stewart or Ian McKellen?
Patrick Stewart.
Oh.
Yeah.
You had to know she was going to say that.
Well, I did know that. I know. But they're such a good duo.
I know
they're
great
besties.
Together.
Who are the Davids? Give her the Davids. David Tennant or who's the other guy? David Tennant.
Tennant. I don't care who the other guy is. It's Tennant.
There we go. Perfect. Got it.
David Tennant is my white whale.
Yes, I was. Because who's the guy he's always bantering with?
Well, he's usually compared, I would think, with Matt Smith.
Maybe that's who.
Were you thinking Michael Sheen?
Yes, Michael Sheen.
Oh, Michael Sheen. Like Good Omens.
Yes.
Listen, I've met a few of the doctors, and David Tennant is, someday. I think my bingo card would be complete if I could talk to David Tennant.
So is that your favorite doctor?
Oh, yeah. Ten's my doctor. Brittany, who's your doctor?
You know what? I usually it's 10, but I must admit I have loved watching Jodie Whittaker. Oh, did I say her last name right?
Yeah.
We'll figure that out. I have loved seeing a female doctor. I was a person who didn't think it was possible, and I love her spin on the character. I wish the writing was stronger in that show for her episodes, but I do love her as the doctor.
Same. But 10 is, he's got my heart.
Well, and he's just had such great storytelling and writing behind him, right? Like, he really is the 1-2 punch in the sense of being a great actor and a great doctor and really grasping the character he was making, on top of the fact of great storyline and great writing.
He also had some really interesting companions, Martha Jones and Donna Noble, and they weren't your traditional companions. They were just like well fleshed out women, like just, yeah.
Donna was my favorite and is to this day my favorite companion.
Okay, what else you got for me, Laura?
Oh, I've got more. Superman or Batman?
Superman.
No. Well,
Yeah.
Let me just say it. It's not. No, it's not the right answer. Unless
Batman is just a rich guy.
If it's Ben Affleck Batman, I pick anybody. I pick Pennywise the Clown over Batman at that point in time, and I hate clowns. No, okay. Well, this is where we're going to disagree, but that's all right.
You know what, though? Can I qualify my answer?
Yes.
Superman from the TV show, The Adventures of Lois and Clark.
Dean Cain? Okay,
Yes.
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take
Very
it.
specific Superman.
Okay.
Although the new Superman in the Arrowverse, the guy who was on Teen Wolf, Tyler Hoechlin, he's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, but Dean Cain's Superman is from the New Adventures of Lois and Clark is my favorite Superman.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. I like that choice.
Yeah.
Okay, favorite super villain in either Marvel or DC?
Well, played by David Tennant in Jessica Jones, Kilgrave.
Oh,
Good choice.
Yeah.
that is a good choice.
He
was
plays a good baddie.
Yeah, he was. Seeing him do the doctor and then see him being like so bad, like, and Kilgrave is like a terrible character, but to act it so well and get in the role so well, like I had like night terrors from that show.
Yeah, I almost wasn't allowed to watch it. But
See, I would pick Joker, either Cesar Romero or Jack Nicholson. I love those Jokers.
Solid choices.
I try.
Good choice.
Okay, I have one more question, Laura. Game of Thrones, season 8. Was it season 8?
Yeah, season 8.
Do you accept it, or do you vote for it to be off the island? Are you going to distinguish its torch?
We don't have enough time.
Okay, then I know your answer. It is the same as mine and Brittany's. It does not exist.
Stop watching at the end of 7.
Yes.
And that's it. I don't know where they thought they were going.
They thought they were going to Star Wars. That's where they thought they were going to.
Yeah, they tanked that dream.
If someone had been binging the show, say for the first time, okay, they went through seasons 1 through 7, super excited. They'd never seen the show, and then they start season 8. I think they would have been like, "Am I watching the same show?"
Yep. Been there, done that.
I even argue when I had a person recently who had not seen it, and they're like, "Do you think I should watch it?" And I said, "No, Laura," because I was like, "You're never going to get a satisfactory ending, so just don't waste your time. Just save the hours in front of the TV."
Yeah. Yeah, big fail there.
Who's going to finish this series?
One can only cross all fingers.
I feel like no.
I don't think so. I think it's never going to be done.
No, I don't think so either. And we're going to have to live with that dismal ending. Ugh. No, yeah, that was terrible. And because that's a fandom in there itself, right? Game of Thrones.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to be futuristic. You can be like...
Yeah. Fantasy.
Yeah.
Dragon.
There's fandoms for everything.
Exactly. There's probably even going to be a fandom for this podcast, Laura.
Oh, tens of people are going to love this.
Yeah, that's about right.
I'm probably gonna get that made into a t-shirt right there.
Oh, yes.
Tens of people are going to love this.
That's our new slogan.
That's definitely our new slogan.
You know what? We're all doing the best we can with COVID, and I think you guys are doing a great job. And I really like your podcast so far, and I can't wait to listen next week. And whenever this one airs, I think you're doing a great thing.
Oh, thank
Aw.
you, Laura. Please,
Yeah.
everyone know we did not pay Laura to say that.
Yeah, that was
You know what?
Sorry.
Our patrons miss us, and if they could just like see us on the screen or hear our voices, I think that's important.
I think so too. It's that
Absolutely.
connection, right?
It's a human connection. Like a lot of the videos we do for work are very polished. I will work on a story time and do 17 takes just because I don't like the way I read the book. This is real. This is just us chatting. And I think this is what the patrons miss. They miss coming in and just shooting the breeze and, having a chat with us. And yeah, that's great.
I think so. Well, you're talking to One Take Laura here. That's it. I film it, push on through. That's it. Here we go.
Before we let you go, Laura, let's get two more things we can get from
Yes,
Laura.
I think so.
We're going to be doing some recommendations later on. Can you give us a recommendation? Doesn't have to be superhero related, of a book that you've read recently that you really liked?
Yeah, I really, really, really like, it's a book called Recursion by Blake Crouch. I like a lot of books that I read, but this one is still stuck in my brain and I can't get it out. And okay, if this makes any sense, it's about time travel, but it's not science fiction-y.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
like Outlander, there's time travel.
Yes.
And never explain why. They're just like, it's time travel.
it explores memory and our memories and what would possibly happen if someone could invent something to go back into our memories and relive them. But of course, something goes awry and you're not just reliving your memory, you can change stuff accidentally. And it came from a scientist who was doing research on Alzheimer's, and they were trying to trigger the memory centers of the brain. So yeah, it has stuck with me. I haven't been able to shake it, but yeah, it's called Recursion by Blake Crouch.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love recommendations.
Yeah.
All right, one more thing from you, Laura. We do a segment called About Town, in which we talk about businesses in Essex County that we've been to and that we've loved. Is there a business anywhere in Essex County that you love to visit?
Yes, there is a vegan restaurant in Amherstburg called The Plant Base.
Oh,
Everything she makes is vegan and gluten-free, and it's so delicious. Everything's delicious. Like, I haven't had mac and cheese that tasted like mac and cheese in 20 years until I had hers. I have a lot of dietary restrictions, unfortunately, and everything she makes is absolutely delicious. So yeah, her name is Danielle Gerard, and she owns The Plant Base. And of course, because of COVID, she has a website, and you can place your order online and go pick it up curbside. Wonderful, delicious. Yeah, she'll make you a grilled cheese sandwich that is completely gluten-free and dairy-free that'll make you weep. It's so good.
Oh, I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
So Laura, Brittany and I are on a quest, like starting in April to the end of summer, to hit as many ice cream spots in the county that we can. Now, I realize you have some dietary restrictions.
Yeah.
But maybe you can turn us on to somewhere that we haven't been that maybe is like, there's some lactose intolerance in my family. So if we could go somewhere that we would have no tummy troubles, it would be great.
Well, you could come down to the waterfront.
Oh, that's my favorite, Laura. That's my hands down favorite.
They have
a big story about that one.
They have some gelatos and some dairy-free. They have a rainbow sorbet that you can eat. They can walk down by the river.
Yes.
Walk outside. Yeah.
Okay.
All
Cool.
right, Laura.
Thank you, Laura, for chatting with us today on this episode of No Shelf Control.
I will talk to you guys anytime.
That's awesome, and we're going to hold you to that.
Yeah, we're probably going to call you back for another episode. So, start turning your brain.
I'll talk to you about anything. Doesn't have to be nerd stuff.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Laura.
Thank you.
Have a great day, Laura.
You too, Laura.
Okay, bye.
Well, I really hope you enjoyed that interview. Did you like it, Laura?
I loved it. I love talking to people.
I am so excited to bring more of our other coworkers into this podcast as we go so we can talk about all the things we love together.
I think so too. I think it'll be really fun. I hope they're all sitting and waiting with trepidation, like they're all like nervous. Who are they gonna call me next and say, "Am I going on next?" Laura was awesome.
Laura
she was a perfect first guest, so nobody feel nervous.
Nobody feel nervous at all. It was super easy. I'm sure she'd say that if we asked her.
Well, she said she liked talking to us. I believe her.
I believe her too. I don't think she'd lie.
Never. So we got some of her recommendations for fiction. So I guess you and I should throw some of ours out for the new stuff.
Absolutely.
The 2021ers.
2020. You go first, Laura.
All right. I will start. You are all going to find out that I enjoy historical fiction. So all of mine are historical fiction. So my first recommendation, well, it's most anticipated, I guess. Let's do that one because I haven't read these yet. These are ones I'm anticipating. They're on my holds list. I can't wait till they come in. So the first one is The Personal Librarian by Marie Benedict. She's actually a lawyer, and she writes fiction based on these hidden historical stories about women. Have you ever read any of hers, Brittany?
I have not.
They're really interesting. There are all these little things that I didn't know, all of her characters. I'm like, really? And I go and I check it, and they're based on historical figures. So this one is set in the early 1900s, and it's a story of Belle DeCosta Green, and she was J.P. Morgan's personal librarian.
Oh my God.
She was like a bad woman, like not bad, like bad isn't good. Like I'm editing myself here. She was tough, no nonsense. She had impeccable taste. She was super, super powerful in that New York library scene at that point in time. And the extra interesting part of her is that she was biracial, and her father was actually Richard Greener, and he was the first black graduate of Harvard, and he was a well-known advocate for equality, but she had to hide that was her family so that she would still be taken seriously. She had to pretend that she was white.
Wow.
Yeah, so I can't wait to read this. I think it's going to be a really good one.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to add that to my reading list.
You should. And I love how Marie Benedict writes. They're really good books.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Will you give me one of yours?
All right. So Brittany's reading policy is that if it doesn't have a dragon, can it be a good book? And often I must debate this. And so a book that I'm really looking forward to is, I'm a big fan of Rainbow Royale. She's a YA author. Mm-hmm. She's written one of my all-time favorite books, which is Fangirl. And the third book in her Carry On trilogy is coming out this summer in July, called Any Way the Wind Blows. And it's the conclusion to this trilogy. And the second book was so good. You know how sometimes the sequels, Laura, aren't as good as the first book?
I know that.
Yeah. The sequel for Carry On, the second one, was so even better than the first one. And I rarely get that experience. So I'm very excited for the third one to see what is coming, how it is concluding the series. So it is a YA fantasy for anyone who's interested. If you're a Rainbow Royale fan, I'm hoping you already have this on your radar, and if you're not, I hope you will check her out because her books are amazing.
I do like her. I haven't read that series though. I'll have to add it to my list. So my next book is another historical fiction book. Mine are all adult, just FYI. So mine is, I didn't say the last one. So The Personal Librarian is out late June. So the next one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and that's an early June. She wrote Daisy Jones and the Six, which I loved. I know not everybody loved that one, but I loved it. And The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which I also love, and I've told Brittany she should read it because it's really good. This one is set in 1983, and I'm feeling the 80s big time lately. You know that. I have a Mr. Dress-Up shirt I even wear. So I'm really feeling the 80s hard right now. So this one is about this Riva family, and they have this huge party there. It's in Malibu, obviously, and it's Nina and her two brothers, and everybody's famous. They're surfers, they're models. The parents are movie stars and rock stars. So this is set at a party. In the morning, the mansion's burned down, and nobody knows what happens.
Oh.
But the story takes place during the night, and all the things that come out, all of the family secrets and whatnot.
Wow.
So it sounded really interesting to me. And like I said, I like those other two, so
Absolutely.
I'll try it out. So that is a early June one.
Oh. I'm gonna go queer romance on y'all.
Ooh.
And if you like queer romances, and you've probably heard the title Red, White, and Royal Blue, which was a romance novel. It had a rom-com feeling to it, where it followed the son of the American president and the prince in England, and they fall in love with each other basically.
Aww.
And it is like enemies to lovers kind of story. It's so cute and so great, and if you want a feel-good novel, that is the one I suggest you read. But that was Casey Mcquiston's debut novel, and her new one is coming out in May actually, and it's called One Last Stop, and it has kind of like an Outlander vibe to it.
Ooh.
Time travel is involved, and it's about a young girl who takes the subway every day, and she starts seeing this woman on the subway, and she realizes that she is a woman from the 70s, and she is no longer here. She is a ghost haunting the subway.
What?
Yeah, so it is a love story between two women, and there's some sort of time travel-y. She's from the 70s. This is set in current times, and I'm super excited for it.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
I like Outlander. I'm a sucker for the time travel storyline, so I think this is gonna be good.
Oh, I really like the sound of that. That sounds good. So I'm gonna have one that's not gonna be like a happy one. Early May. This one's called The Hour of the Witch, and I'm gonna butcher this guy's last name, and it's terrible. It's Chris Bohjalian. Do you know who I mean?
I do know.
Oh yeah, he writes all these really good books. He's an Armenian author. This one again is historical fiction, set in 1662, about this young woman who's married to an abusive man.
Oh.
And like really bad, like he's a drunk and he beats her, and she realizes, this is pretty progressive to me, but whatever. She realizes she needs to divorce him to save her life. Like in 1662, that shocks me. So yeah. I don't know if that's historically accurate, but whatever. But then, so everybody's going to look at her with different eyes, right, in that community, because this is set in the States, and I can't remember where, but very puritanical, right? So divorce is a no-no. She treats a young boy with some simple herbs. It reminds me of Outlander here, and he dies. Oh. So already they're getting suspicious of her. And then the servant girl runs screaming in fright from their home, and now they're all like, she's a witch.
Oh no.
So she's not only got to save herself from her marriage, she's got to save herself from
the town,
from the pyre, right?
Oh God.
So what they're saying is the story of the socially sanctioned brutality in the original American witch hunt.
Oh.
It sounds really interesting.
That does sound really interesting.
Yeah. I think it's one that's going to make me mad, but I think it's going to be good.
Sometimes the rage is good. It keeps you warm at night.
I agree with that.
I'll do a nonfiction. I love reading classic literature, Pride and Prejudice, Little Women, all that kind of stuff. And one of my favorite podcasts ever is called Harry Potter and the Sacred Text, and it reads Harry Potter much like people read the Bible or any other holy text, and it's done by 2 Harvard Divinity graduates. And she is the female co-host, Vanessa Zoltan, is releasing her own book called Praying with Jane Eyre, and it is looking at Jane Eyre as like a scripture, like a sacred text, and gaining life lessons from it and all that kind of stuff. And I really like that kind of stuff. So if you are someone who likes A, classic literature, but B, maybe a more spiritual text, this could be a book for you.
That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting. And I'm not generally a nonfiction reader, but
I'm not a big nonfiction reader either.
That sounds good. So I have one last one, and it's not a historical fiction recommendation list without a World War II historical fiction
Is
novel
it historical
thrown in there.
fiction if you don't include World War II? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Anymore, I don't think so. But this one is actually out right now. It has a holds list on it. It came out in January. It's called The Last Garden in London by Julia Kelly. She wrote, I can't remember it right now, but it's like a Paris one. And it was also set in, shockingly, World War II. So this one has 3 timelines in it, 1907, 1944, and present day. So it all has to do with this garden. So in 1907, it's this woman who has been hired to design the garden at this Highbury House estate. And it's for all, the upper crust, because they want to show off how fabulous they are with these gorgeous ornate gardens. So that's the part in 1907. In 1944, the house has now been requisitioned by the government, and it's a convalescent house. If you've watched Downton Abbey, it's like a season 2 Downton Abbey.
There you go.
Thing,
there you go.
Right? And it deals with 3 characters in that timeline: a land girl, a cook, and the owner of the house, who's now a widow. And then in present day, it is a woman who's actually restoring those gardens back to their original 1907 glory. So, and then she's uncovering all the bits and bobs of history through it. So I think it sounds really good. I think that's, hopefully it's not like it doesn't sound to me like one of those spy or whatever. Sometimes World War II historical fiction can be too heavy for me. I think it's an important thing to read, but I can only read so much of it before it's too much on me. And that one, I feel like that's one it might not be too bad.
Absolutely.
But that sounds interesting to me. So like I say, it's on my holds list and it's out right now, so you could put a hold on.
I'll do one more to wrap us up, Laura.
Okay.
I have one of my favorite all-time books is Aristotle and Dante Discovers the Secrets of the Universe, and it's by Benjamin Alire Saenz. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. It is a YA LGBT story. It is honestly one of my top 3 favorite books ever. And the sequel is coming out this summer. Aristotle and Dante dive into the waters of the world. The audiobook of the first one is read by Lin-Manuel Miranda, who, of course, creator of Hamilton. And he reads the audiobook perfectly. So if you are interested in finding more LGBT stories, I absolutely recommend putting this one on your list, because I'm so excited for number 2. It is the top book I'm looking forward to this summer.
That's on my to-read pile at home. And I'm going back and forth. Do I listen to the audio? And I'm not a big audiobook person, but do I listen to the audio because it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, or do I read it? I'm going back and forth on it. But it's the next one on the pile. I'm really excited about it.
I hope so.
I am. And so then I'll have that read and can put it on hold for the next one.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like when that happens, when they line up like that. Okay, so those are our recommendations. Like I said, those are mostly all coming soon ones. I think the only one that's out right now was that last one that I said. Yeah, the rest are anticipated.
All of mine are coming out soon over the spring and the summer.
But I believe all of mine are already on our catalog, and you can already place holds on them.
Most of mine are as well.
Yeah, so if you see something that's new and you're not quite sure, check and see. A lot of the stuff we have pre-orders for, so you can put your hold on that even though we don't physically have the book. And if you see something that's not on there that you're anticipating, there's a little contact us button on our webpage, and you can put in a request for new books. If it's maybe something that, we don't, our awesome people around here don't always find everything, because,
that'd be impossible.
We're not perfect. Yeah. And it would be impossible. So if you see something and you don't see it on our catalog, put in a little request for it, and we'll probably, a lot of times they get it for you.
Yes, and don't be afraid to put in requests, everyone. It's really, this is, if you think about it, your library system. And I have put in requests for some of the weirdest stuff, I will say. That's like the most obscure topics, and they have still gotten it for me. So don't be afraid to take advantage of your library like that. That's what we're here for. We're here to provide you books.
And if you aren't comfortable with putting in the request online, just give us a call at the branches.
Absolutely, we'll do it over the phone with you.
It's easy peasy for us to do it. It's not a problem at all. You don't ever feel like you're wasting our time or making us do extra work. No, we want to do stuff like that for you. So yeah, look for all those new ones. And if you see new ones on any of your book lists or whatever and you don't see them on there, hit us up for a request. Okie dokie, Brittany. So I think it's about time to talk about what's going on about town.
Absolutely. So besides our great ice cream challenge of 2021,
Yes.
have you been anywhere else, Laura?
No.
No.
No, I have not. No, I haven't. I'm very boring. I'm waiting anxiously for the weather to completely break so that I can get some flowers for outside.
Outdoor flowers would be so exciting.
Yes. That is what it's come down to, man.
Yeah.
During COVID, I'm like, just wait. That was last year too. I'm like, I can't wait to get flowers for outside. Can't wait. And I want to do a little bit of vegetable gardening in containers. So I'm excited. I know people are already getting it now, but no, I don't want to get it yet. It's still, the nights get too cold.
Chilly.
Still.
It's chilly.
Yeah. Down at my place too, we live closer to the lake, so it's always colder down there, about 10 degrees colder. So I don't want to lose my plants. That would make me real sad.
Absolutely.
But if you are like more ambitious than Brittany or I, you might want to do it from seed.
Oh, yes.
And how can you do that?
Well, Laura, we have seeds here at the library.
I know.
So many
cool.
seeds. Thousands of seeds, in fact.
Yes.
So you can go online and there's a form you can fill out to pick out your seeds. So it'll give you the option. This has been going on now for a couple of weeks. So I know lots of patrons have taken advantage of it. I think we had, 6,000 seeds?
Oh,
Laura,
I think so.
was
Yeah,
the
it was
number?
like this crazy amount.
Yeah, and that we are giving out to the community. And this is, I think, our second or third year running this.
Yeah, I think second for everybody. The first year it was like a pilot project.
A pilot project, yep. So it seems to be very well received by the patrons of our community, and we want to encourage you guys to take advantage of it. So go online, and if you can't find it, feel free to go onto our Facebook or Instagram. We post about it there, and post in the comments that you're interested in some seeds, and we'll get back to you.
So the idea of this, it's a seed library, right? So the idea of once it gets going is that you take some seeds and you give some seeds.
Yeah, so at the end of the season, once whatever you made, whatever you grew, you take some seeds from that, you put them in a little baggie for us, and you bring them back, and we're hoping to really get a nice, give and take kind of library for you.
I have no idea how you collect the seeds, so you're gonna have to look that stuff up in a book.
I'm like, all I can think of is peppers, we give out peppers and you open those up and there's seeds in there. That's the only thing I can think of.
All I think of are maple keys.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know that there are people who are way bigger gardeners than either of us, and they know how this stuff works. I am not an expert with seeds. I tried it last year and it did not work for me. I got made fun of so bad by the people in my house because I had all my little seedlings going and they were in my window and I had a light over top of them and they just didn't get hardy, except for my zinnias, which they actually took. I planted them outside and I had a galvanized bucket full of zinnias, and I looked at it the other day and they self-seeded and there's little seedlings starting.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. So I have no idea. I probably could have harvested some of those seeds myself. Maybe I'll learn for next year so that I'll be able to contribute to the seed library.
And please don't feel that if you can't donate seeds back that we will hunt you down for the seeds.
No.
That's not going to happen. I've had some patrons who were like, but I can't find the seeds. I'm like, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We would just like you to if you're able to, but don't worry if you can't. The seeds are just there for you to enjoy.
Yeah, that's the goal, is the in and out, right?
Yeah.
So that we're sharing all over and it's a community kind of thing. So I think it's a really cool idea.
And we had a lot of seeds donated by our community.
Yes, we did, and a lot of native seeds and stuff like that. So that's really cool too, like native plants.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really cool thing. Please don't bring us invasive species. We don't want Urca getting after us afterwards.
No, we don't. No, we don't
And
need
they're
that.
like, where did this plant come from? Oh, it came from Essex County Library. No!
No, not us.
No, it wasn't us, we swear.
The wrong library. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. What else do we have going? Well, you know what else we have through the libraries? We have the Spice Club.
Yes.
So that's going on. That is through the Facebook page. You can sign up through that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something cool since we're still going to be staying home for another 6 months. Maybe you want to tune up your cooking skills, which Britt and I were just talking.
Yes.
Ours are like
Are shaky.
We've hit the skids here.
We're shaky on the cooking.
There's a lot of tomato sandwiches being consumed at my house.
Yeah, and a lot of, put it in the oven, let it cook, and then flip it over kind of food. I don't know what that's called. Freezer food.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe we should sign up for the Spice Club and get some better ideas.
Should try. Well, we do have our next episode, Laura, is going to be our cooking episode again.
Oh, that's right. What are we going to cook, Britt?
So we're pulling from the book Farm to Chef, Cooking Through the Seasons by Lynn Crawford. And we're going to do the pimeal on a bun with spring onion pickle relish and honey mustard aioli.
Oh, that sounds so good. That should get me out of making a week's worth of dinners.
I hope so.
I hope so, too.
Because so you got to make the honey mustard aioli, the spring onion pickle relish, and then you got to prepare the sandwich. So
I can do it.
I think it's going to be good.
I think it's going to be delicious. I think it's a perfect, springtime recipe.
That's what I felt, right?
Yeah.
And what's really cool about this cooking book, Laura, I know you said you've met the author, which is, that's quite the flex. But also, at the top of all her recipes, she talks about places in Canada where this recipe inspired her. This recipe specifically being from the St. Lawrence Market in Toronto, which I think is pretty cool.
That is very cool. I did make something out of there already. I made the rhubarb shrub, which is like a fruit syrup that you use for drinks.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, you put it with gin and stuff, so that I know that's not your bag, but it's mine. It tasted good.
Okay, there you go.
But now I have a whole bottle of rhubarb shrub in my fridge, and nobody else except for one person better be drinking it at my house.
Yeah, everyone else is not at the age.
No, they are not. But it was really easy and it was really good. And yeah, she's a very cool woman, chef, boss lady. Really nice.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think for the next little bit. I'm hoping to hit some of the local places for some curbside or some takeout or something. Some of the restaurants that are unfortunately still shuttered for us to go sit even at patios. So I'm going to try and hit some of those places up.
That sounds great. We've been trying to support local, of course, through this whole pandemic. But now, as it seems to go longer, I think that even gets more important because things are really going to be starting to stretch thin for businesses. So we will definitely be hitting the local restaurants all over Essex County. Give us some little excitement and, a break from the kitchen. And we can, keep our county going strong.
We actually had Riviera Maya, which is a restaurant in Leamington, and we had Mexican food from there last week, and it was delicious. Ooh. Oh, my goodness. Check them out. And then my lovely family got me a bubble tea the other day.
Aww.
I love me a good bubble tea. And there's actually a restaurant right across the street from Leamington Library, Faux Saigon, and I love the bubble tea from there. They got me mango. Coconut's my favorite, but mango was a good choice as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's it for the excitement.
I think so. I think we've delivered enough excitement today.
I think so. I think we tried to squeeze every drop of positivity out of ourselves that we could.
I think so. I think we did a pretty good job.
I think so. I hope it left you feeling a little bit lighter and feeling good and looking forward We don't have to just stand still and be sad where we're at. Let's look forward and kind of make the best of it. I hate when people say that, but let's try.
Let's do it. Let us know in the comments, everyone, like what you're doing to stay, positive and happy during this COVID pandemic. I know some people have started some new hobbies. Some people have started journaling or, God forbid, running. Laura has started running, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else.
Really slowly. It's a fast walk.
Yeah, but let us know. Let us know what you're doing. We all need ideas.
Yes, we do. And if you want to hear any more of me, my friend's podcast, I'm going to give him a little shout out, is Sean's Magical Odyssey. So it's fun. We have a good time. And maybe that's something you might like to do too. We have lots of books on that and starting a podcast.
Oh, we do.
And really, it's really not that hard.
No,
it's not.
I mean, if we can do it.
Yeah, sure. If you like chatting and talking, and you know what? I like listening to them. So.
Oh, I listen to my podcast all the time.
Put yourself out there. You don't have to, don't be afraid. Put yourself out there for whatever you do. Be it a new hobby, be it whatever, just try something. Don't be afraid.
All right, Laura.
Okay, Brittany. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of No Shelf Control. And we'll be back at you with a recipe next time that doesn't need measuring cups or spoons.
Amen. That's my new favorite type of recipes.
So until then, friends, take good care.
Bye.